M&A can be really exciting, and I think back to my early career, really how I got into the world of finance was doing mergers and acquisitions with a large agricultural firm. And, the discussions, the war room, the numbers, you'd sit down and you play out different scenarios. When you were going through these discussions and one-on-ones with Newmont, your head was on the line. You needed to navigate this. How do you approach it? Do you have just a deep resolve that you see this and you're going to sell it? What's the kind of personality trait? What really pushed you forward to see this and communicate this to get these deals done?
Well, look, I'll be blunt. I would have preferred to stay on and do the deal that I wanted to do from the outset, which was the Barrick deal. That would have been my preference, and Goldcorp would have been a very interesting vehicle with a consolidated asset in Dominican Republic and Puerto Viejo, which is one of the best producing gold mines in the world. We would have got some other projects that we would have inherited from Barrick as well. When we announced our deal, Barrick came after Newmont to disrupt their deal, and that was a catalyst for them to talk about joint venturing in Nevada. So they realized those synergies. So mission accomplished from that standpoint. Newmont got the synergies they wanted in Nevada, but they don't own the assets 100%. The deal we would have had the table would have had them owning 100% in Nevada, not 38% that they own currently.
Yeah.
But, that being said, recognizing the reality of the situation, and there are only so many pieces on the chessboard, the best deal for us was the Newmont merger at the end of the day. And we looked at mergers of equals with another party that would have maybe allowed me to maintain my position or a different position within the company, maybe at the chairman's level, whatever. But at the end of the day, looking at the balance of opportunities in front of us and for our shareholders, what Newmont offered was the most compelling. We recognize the existential necessity of doing it because the sector was shrinking. And you know what? To this day, it's still shrinking. It's still shrinking. Barrick and Newmont are dealing with declining production reserves again. Several years, 4 years after having completed those deals, they're back into that unfortunate treadmill where they haven't been exploring and they haven't been buying anything. So they're having to deal with declining production reserves and perennial disappointments in the marketplace. And that's a recurring theme within the producer space right now.
So I'm curious, how does that play out? You hear this narrative a lot within the copper space, and we don't have the production, gold space, any of our metals. We don't have enough production. There hasn't been enough exploration. Is it a stalemate? It's an issue that is going to have to come home to roost. How do you see this playing out?
It'll be crisis management. People ask me, has the gold industry learned anything? Well, we've had a really good half a dozen years or so where we've harvested great cash flows from our business, been disciplined about returning capital to shareholders, paying down debt. The sector is at net zero debt effectively now, which is unprecedented. That's amazing. So they've done a great job of repairing the balance sheets. They put nothing in the ground. Reserves are down to 6 years of production right now from a high of about a dozen years, 10 years ago. We came out of the credit crisis. We're spending a lot of money in exploration. Juniors could raise money back then when gold, went up 80, 100%. But now they haven't been able to raise money. So there's been scant exploration on the grassroots side, and there's very marginal incremental exploration occurring on the producer side around existing mines and infrastructure. So the industry's done a horrible job of replacing reserves. And so it's getting to crisis mode right now. So at a necessity, I think there's going to be a big rotation of capital into exploration.